Okay, so the next thing that we want to cover is going to be really important in this project is how to process text files. Okay, so what is a text file? It's a file, okay, in your hard drive or SSD drive or whatever you have. That excuse me. The whole point about being a text file is that it only contains text. Those are the printable characters like the letters, punctuation marks, spaces, that kind of thing. Okay, so it doesn't have things like bold and italics. Okay, it's just the letters. There's no fonts. You can't have images, videos, anything like that. It is just one or more lines of simple text. Like I said, no fonts, no special kind of fancy characters, no embedded images, nothing. It's just letters. Okay, so that's what a text file contains. And how do we process a text file? Well, the first thing you have to do is open the file. You can think of that as assigning a variable that actually holds a pointer to where the file is located, right? And it knows where it is in that file. I've read the first 5 lines, for example, right? Then you can actually read, or if you're writing, you can write, and we do it one line at a time. It's a text file. It consists of many lines. So we'll read the first line, we'll read the second line, and so on. Okay. Now, when we're done reading all the lines in the file, then we have to close the file. And that's very important because the computer can only hold so many files open at the same time. So we open it, we read it, we close it. Okay. So here's what that might look like in Python. We have here, this is the command open, and we're opening a file for reading. So how do I know that I'm reading it? This. R equals read. Okay, so that's the mode. I'm opening the file for reading, which means that I'll read from the file. This is the name of the file. And if you are in Windows, for example, you can have a full name there, like C:\/ my files / so on, right? And so we're going to read that, and the result is going to go into a variable called f. So that's kind of the file, or rather the variable that holds a pointer into that file so that it knows, it's like all the little fingers saying, I've read up to here, up to here, up to here. At the very beginning, it's at the very top of the file saying, I haven't read anything, right? So the next thing I'm going to read is this following line, the first line, okay? Now, here is the Python kind of code for reading all the lines of a file. So for line in F, where does F come from? That's that pointer. So read me the line you're looking at. Okay, read me the next one, read me the next one, read me the next one, and so on. That's what that does. That's a for loop. And you say for line in F, think of F, a file, as a collection of lines, one at a time. So that's how you would read from a list, for example, a list of lines. Okay. Now here we're going to print, and we're printing the length of the line. Remember, the line is now a string, so the length of the line is just however many characters it has. Now you'll notice that we're not closing, right? Okay. Now the reason for that is that so many programmers forget to close files that Python came up with a with statement. And you say with open. As soon as you finish the code that's inside the with, Python automatically closes the file. So you don't have to remember to close it. That's why that works. Okay. All right. I did kind of lie a little bit to you on that last slide because I told you that I was printing the length of the line, which is however many characters it has. But actually, the way text files work is that there is a new line at the end of the file. Okay. Now, exactly what character there is at the end of each line, I should say, at the end of each line, this specific character depends on your operating system. So if you're under Windows, it will be 2 characters, a character return and a new line. If you are in Linux or Mac OS, it'll be a single character, just a new line, right? But in any case, in here, what I'm doing is this is the same as before, except I'm reading raw line instead of line, okay? And then raw line, I say raw line dot r strip. What that says is go over to the right side of the line, or the string, and get rid of any white space characters. So if it ends in space \n, for example, it'll get rid of the space and the \n. And then it'll put the results into this other variable line. So line now doesn't have that new line at the end. When you say print line, it'll actually write the line onto the console, and then it'll do its own new line, so it goes to the next line. So if I didn't do this R strip, there would be 2 new lines, and the text would be separated. By doing it that way, it just kind of looks like what's in the file. So this is kind of a way that you could write a program that just prints all the data in a file. Okay. Now let's talk about writing to a file. Okay. So to do that is almost identical, except we say I'm reading with W. W means write. Okay. What this will do is it will delete the file and then start a new one. You can also say A, which will append to the file, so it will actually go through and try to write a line after the last line of the existing file. Okay. Now in here, we hop in a loop and we say for I in range 10, that means that we have 0, 1, 2, all the way up to 9, right? That's the way the for loops work. And every time I do f.write, this writes something. Now, in this case, what it's writing is the string line that, so it'll write line 0, line 1, line 2, and so on, okay? And a \n after it. \n is the Python string syntax for new line, okay? We saw that earlier. And remember that what Python does is it treats that as whatever the new line means for your operating system. Maybe it's a new line, maybe it's carriage return new line. It will do the right thing. This is the way they're going to write a text file. Okay, I want to end this up by talking about JSON files. And JSON files are text files. They're actually just text files. But there's a really kind of a great format that you can write really complex objects. And what I mean by a complex object, maybe it's a list of dictionaries, or list of dictionaries that the keys are string, but the values are actually other lists, and so on. So pretty complicated things. And here's an example of one. Notice that it starts with an opening brace. So what we have is a dictionary. And then here's the first key, second key, third key, fourth key. That one is actually another dictionary, and it's got a key, and the value there is actually an array, and the array is an array of things that are themselves dictionaries, right? So like I said, this is crazy, right? It is a dictionary that contains entries, one of which is a dictionary which has an entry which is a list of dictionaries. That's a pretty complex data structures. What's nice about this is that it's a text file, so we can create it, we can write it to a file, and then we can read it from that file. And when you read it, you can actually do it in Python, you can do it in Java, you can do it in any programming language. All programming languages support JSON now. So you'll be able to just write this and then read it from any other code. It's really cool. So here is the things that you have to do. First, you have to import the JSON library, otherwise nothing works. And then I'm outputting a file. The .json is just a convention. This file will contain JSON data for writing, okay? And I say json.dump. Dump is a command that says just write this to a file. This second argument is the file, and the first argument is what to write. Okay, so it'll take the population dictionary and it will now just write it into a file. You can actually do that and then edit the file to see what it output. Okay. Of course, at some point we're going to want to read the file from JSON. Again, we have to import JSON. This time I'm opening the file for reading. Okay. And then json.load, okay, and this is the file that I'm reading, okay. You say json.load, and that will actually read the file, figure out the format of it, and then create something that I can now assign to population. So I could have run this code, generated this great data, and then I can use the data in subsequent code without having to build it.